Man, before we start, man, I just want to say thank you to the people that have been supporting the vision, liking, subscribing, reposting, like from the bottom of my heart. I just want to say thank y'all. And without further ado, man, who are we here with today?
What's up, man? My name is Jonathon Lewis, bro. How you feeling, bro? Good to see you again.
Good to see you, man. Now, how old are you and what line of business are you in, bro?
33. I'm in the hospitality industry. I've been in the travel space for pretty much my whole adult life, and I started my own company 5 years ago.
Now, out of all the companies you could have started, why a traveling company?
Well, I basically was introduced to it by a stranger who was from a neighborhood similar to like where I grew up at, and they didn't even have, like, they were intelligent, but they was a dropout and was making crazy money traveling the world, and just kind of sold me on the idea, and I jumped into the travel space kind of all in, and it's been a thing where I got a lot of mentors. I made a crazy network out of the industry, and the first real taste of success that wasn't anything related to sports or anything of that nature or college was in the travel space. And not to mention, like, I never traveled growing up, so actually leaving the country for the first time, it was something that I was addicted after that, and it started to change me slowly. But yeah.
Do you remember the first official trip you took out the country?
The first official trip I took was like a cruise with the fam, but I mean, like I said, I don't really count that. You don't really experience nothing. You touch Mexican soil for like 2 hours and then you back on the boat. But the first official trip, which one was? I actually don't remember which one it was, but it was probably, I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna have to come back to that one. I gotta think about that. I don't remember.
Yeah. And how many trips have you taken since then, boss?
I've probably been on at least 30, bro. Like 30 or more, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we could all agree that we would be excited for our first, like, 5 official trips. Now, 30, bro, that's a lot. Do they still create, like, that high level of excitement, bro, even to this day for you?
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of times I'm going to new places. Like, you have so many different places. Like, you could visit every country. It's like 100 or something countries, but then there's different cities within every country and different parts of the city. Like, you could go to Houston 100 times and visit somewhere different in just Houston every time you go.
Have different experiences.
You know what I mean? So think about that out of the 100 plus countries, plus states, plus areas and divisions or whatever they call their different areas in these different places. So, yeah.
Now, in a video you posted, I heard you say that there's parts of yourself you'll never get to meet until you start traveling. What would some of those be, if you don't mind getting a little personal?
Whenever you're traveling, it's not just like one thing. You get different perspectives from everybody that you see and that you meet. You become more open-minded. You become more well-rounded, I think. I think when you get back to America, you have more patience for different perspectives on people, and it's kind of hard to be like ignorant or racist or short-tempered with certain stuff because you've seen complete opposite perspectives and you were kind of forced to normalize it. Like, I don't come from a place where you see somebody walk into the mall with their 5 wives, but going to Dubai, you'll see that. And so you like, okay, that's completely different. You don't see people in America stop and pray every couple hours throughout the day. In Egypt, there's like a alarm that's sounding off to let people know it's time to pray. You know what I mean? You go to work and in the middle of your job, the boss is like, hey, y'all can dip, it's nap time. But in Barcelona, everybody does that, right? So those are just light examples. I'm not even talking about like politics or any kind of critical type of situation, but these are all things that are complete opposite of what we normally see and do, that when you experience them and everybody in this new environment you see does it, you got to kind of change your perspective. Like, okay, this is, other people are doing completely different shit.
Now, can you share with us, boss, the biggest difference you've noticed from the food from other countries compared to the U.S.?
So the biggest difference in the food in other countries compared to the U.S. is just like cleanliness, bro. They don't use the same chemicals that we use. The U.S. has a whole, I'm not even gonna get into the super details, but like the food is to make us sick on purpose. And so you go to Bali, like I stayed in Bali for 3 months last year. I didn't change too much of my routine. I still work out every day wherever I'm at, but my stomach was just so clear Like my skin was so clear, my stomach was flat, my abs was way more chiseled than normal, and my thoughts were clear because of what I was eating. I had more energy throughout the day. And you could only chalk that up to what you're consuming every day, the water. I drink a coconut every day because there's coconuts everywhere. Everybody's selling a coconut that they just got that day for like $2, right? So, yeah, I mean, I just, thoughts, spiritually, I felt better. Happiness, I felt better. Energy, clarity, all of it.
Without getting too controversial, man, what differences?
Do you like Donald Trump?
What differences have you seen in the dating scene outside the U.S.?
Dating outside the U.S., I think everybody, before you get to like 35, if you single, you need to go date. You need to go live out the country for like 1 month. Go to Barcelona, go to Bali, go to Colombia, go to Brazil, you know, go to Thailand, go to Dubai. Go wherever you can afford in your budget. I think not even just for dating, I think just for like seeing and experiencing. Like I told my brother, I'm like, yo, if you have a remote job, now is the time to go sit down somewhere else for a month. Just see what it's like. I think the new American dream altogether is getting American money and living out the country. But yeah, women out of the country have way different mindsets from American women. If we're honest, I think we've created a lot of individualism and a lot of this, what's it called, the gender wars is happening now. I don't think like a lot of the real women in America are on that. I think it's just the ones that are really on social media, and it's just a very it's basically like popularized prostitution, if we're being honest. But yeah, overseas the women are a lot more feminine for the most part, and a lot of them don't think about money. Not that you shouldn't be thinking about money, but I go to Spain and like, it's about vibes. Yeah, it's like, do I like you first? You know, like, can we vibe? Are we having a good time? And yeah, every woman wants a provider. That's a common sense thing, but it's like, actually, I want to get to know you. Pause.
In your experience, can it be dangerous to travel to second and third world countries?
The only place I've ever been robbed at gunpoint was downtown Houston. So it's dangerous everywhere, bro. But I've never been in danger. I mean, we've probably been in danger in certain places and didn't know it. But yeah, I mean, you just got to be cautious, bro. Like it's all about preparation and doing a little bit of research before you go to certain places. If you're traveling with groups like Jetquest, we do that research for you. We have people there that take care of us for us, that kind of know the lay of the land, so we're not just going out there ignorant or naked. And honestly, like I said, you could be in danger anywhere. It's all about paying attention to your surroundings and knowing where you're at.
If you had to move tomorrow to a whole new country, where would that be and why?
I'm actually gonna be doing this soon. So I'm gonna be staying in Thailand for about a month after our Tokyo trip. Then we're gonna go stay in Bali for about a month.
Why Thailand?
Because I've never done it.
Okay.
I haven't done Thailand yet. I did Bali for 3 months. But yeah, we want to go try Thailand for a month, then Bali, and probably gonna do Barcelona for a good chunk. And we have our Dubai trip coming up, so if y'all are looking to travel for the end of the year, we pulling up to Dubai. But yeah, I'm gonna stay that whole month in Dubai, and then a couple of months next year I'm gonna do Barcelona. So I'm gonna be a nomad for at least the next year, you know.
Now flip that coin. Where would you never move to and why?
I would never move to Idaho, nigga. I don't know. I don't really know where I would never move to. I definitely wouldn't go to India. I wouldn't move to India. It's Instagram has scared me, bro. I know it's probably not even like that. It's them videos of the food, the street food, they be going crazy. I'm like, yeah, we can't do it. It was one time in Bali, I was eating with the locals one time, and everybody talks about Bali belly. It's basically like a virus that everybody gets because we have different, you know, our stomachs are different because we just consume different bacteria or whatever on a regular basis. And I'm thinking, oh, I haven't got sick yet, so I'm built different. My stomach's good. Man, I ate with the locals one day. We was drinking like some local beer that they drink called Arak Bali. Man, it was out of front, back, everything, like the next 2 days. So, you know, I'm scared of going to places where they really don't wash their hands before they make their food.
Now, before Jetquest, you actually started working for another traveling company for free on and off, correct?
For free?
Yeah, I remember
No.
I seen the video. Like it was, you said like in a year.
No.
You were doing it like on and off.
Different company. So I worked in the travel industry for 5 years. That was not for free. I actually made my first six figures in that company. That's the one I told you, like, I was introduced to the travel space. When that company ended up going, that company went from $500 million to $1 billion in revenue a year. And then the next year ended up going bankrupt. That's a whole other story. But in between that time and starting Jetquest, I worked with a startup. This startup was in the hot, yeah, they were in the food space. So they're building a food finding app called Grady. They raised like $800,000 in a year to start their seed round or whatever as a startup. And I worked for them for a percentage of equity. I'm not going to get into the number, but not free, just no money up front. Because I saw the vision and I told them, like, yo, look, I'll work on this for money. And that was a crazy time because I went from making this money with that previous company to really going like this for about a year and a half. But I saw the vision, and I've always been a long-term thinker, and I just was like, I see where this is going. I see the founder and his work ethic and his vision, and I believed in it. So, hopefully that blows up the way I think it is.
Now, what were the main failures and accomplishments that company made that you incorporated into your own company? Give me some game, man.
Well, for one, knowing when to fire people faster. A lot of entrepreneurs bring on people who are talented or have a lot of promise, and they don't get rid of them sooner when they see the red flags. Same in dating. But another thing is knowing your end goal and working kind of backwards from that. I think at one point the bigger picture with the company was being a consumer-focused company, and at one point the two founders kind of had a not an argument, but just a conflict on should we build this version of the app first or like a business-to-business version of the app, and they went with the wrong choice for a long time, and it caused the company to suffer. So learning how to pivot. A lot of founders have too much ego and don't want to pivot when shit's not necessarily going right. But that also takes a lot of foresight, because how do you know it's not going right, or you just need to have patience? So it's about knowing like key metrics, having great examples, and having a lot of mentorship too. Like if you don't have a mentor to be able to tell you what you're looking for. And then third, it's like, do you have a very clear vision, like I said? Because there's some companies where you might have mentors and everybody's telling you, yeah, it's time to pivot. And I'm sure a lot of people probably would have told that to somebody like a Mark Zuckerberg or a Jeff Bezos at a certain point, or who knows. But some companies just don't have a pivot point. So it's like a line that's like floss. It's that thin, and you can go either way, but you gotta really know exactly what you're doing. If it's any confusion, if you're trying to do multiple things and dibble dabble, like, it's not going to work. And if I could think of any other, always be raising money. When you're in that realm, it's like always be raising money and bring on people who produce. Like, you need A players, and if you don't have A players, I suggest you just stay independent for as long as possible, where it's just you, because having a bunch of B and C players on your team actually slows you down. A lot of people think, oh yeah, I got a team now, and you have a bunch of people around you that are actually making, like, let's just say this. If we start a car wash, and you great at washing cars, but your partner sucks, and you end up having to just backdoor and redo everything he's fucking up, he's actually costing you more time and money, and you're splitting the money with him. So are you progressing, or are you going backwards? So it's like that with almost anything. So if you have an A player, y'all moving twice as fast, y'all end up probably doing compound interest on the amount of cars you can wash, and because the actual quality of the car wash better, y'all probably charge more now too. So you're not just doubling it, you tripling, quadrupling, all of that. So those are some of the things I can think of without trying to give you 10 or 20, but yeah.
That's some game, man. How were you able to raise capital that you needed in order to start and push your company?
So With that company,
Route, venture capital route.
yeah, so with that company, I learned from them watching Eric use his personal network to like raise money from really friends and family. Eric is the founder of Grady. If y'all look up Grady Inc., you can actually go on the App Store right now and download Grady. If you're in Houston, there's actually a lot of restaurants that are already on Grady, and you can start using it and finding food. So if you got a girlfriend or a couple of girlfriends, and you trying to find out where you want to go on a date this week, Grady will help you find places in your local area. But anyway, I watched him because Eric was already successful in real estate and through Airbnb. People trusted him to invest in him. So a lot of times you might be starting a company or trying to raise money and people just don't know you for your success yet that you haven't had, so they're not gonna give you money yet. And you can't take that personal. You got to build yourself up. You got to build up leverage, and that leverage might not be personally you. So for me, I didn't start Jetquest with money. I didn't even have access to a whole bunch of credit when I first started. It was all like, okay, how can I leverage social media, my knowledge, my network, all the resources that I can use, and be resourceful to create something that will give me leverage to eventually have money. So one, starting to learn credit. Two, I joined a startup where I could learn venture capital and tech and the whole startup community. And then three, I had a previous network from a travel company. And then four, I had a huge social media where I could promote trips and gain revenue just out of that. And slowly but surely, here we are 5 years later, we've done 20 trips and produced well over like $700,000. And next year we plan to double that in just 1 year, because we're finally at a point where we have access to credit. And shout out to my boy Shaquille at Credit Jump Solutions, who's getting us right. And it's just building up the resources. Everybody don't start with them. Eric was at a point way ahead of me because he was already a millionaire when he started his startup. I was not. So I just had to learn from that and see, okay, at what point can I get up to there? And you just gotta be not realistic, but see the resources you have and your network is at.
And build your way up from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's awesome, man. Now, in every trip, you still host mastermind/networking events. What's a common characteristic that you've noticed in the successful people you've met?
Patience, bro. Patience, critical.
Patience in what? If you don't mind going deeper.
Honestly, a little bit of everything. The people who are, and I don't just think of successful as just money. Like, these are people who have money, who are well-rounded, like they're in good shape. Their network is solid. They have supportive people around them, and they are positive people. Like, if it's not that full circle, to me, you're not really successful. But all of them are patient. All of them are positive. They can communicate well. They have emotional intelligence. They're coachable. Like, all of them want to get information nonstop. If somebody's talking and they hear something that they don't know, like, they're all ears, they're listeners. They're all high energy. The ones that I know, for the most part, they might even be an introvert, but when it's time and you get them in the right environment, they all love to have fun. So we have a lot of people who come on our trips who are super successful, a lot of people who are just starting their success journey. Like, I've watched a lot of people, like even my boy Kevin right here. Like, I know Kevin for, 4 years, 3 years? So, like, seeing all of us doing our journey and climbing and becoming more successful and going from living in the same apartments to like traveling the world and never being home, it is something where you can see, even before people had a major success, always working out, always learning, always reading, always positive, always hanging around similar people, always getting around a campfire of people who are on their best shit, and their network is that people who are also successful, so.
Now, what's the best piece of advice a mentor has given you?
It was some stuff about women, honestly. Like, it's stuff about just it's a couple of things. Like, I can't even think of like one phrase, but one is learning to utilize credit. Like, it wouldn't be one thing, like one sentence that I could say, but one of the best things that I've started to learn is building the credit profile and, working with my boy Shaquille and even some other team members, my developer who's actually over there, Deshaun, and just working with them, building up the credit and being able to know about, okay, which banks to go to when your profile looks a certain way. which accounts that you need and what the amount of the accounts needs to be before you really want to go and pull, and how you want to go apply for certain things. Just the whole process of that is something that I would say is one of the biggest things, because nobody really builds a business. And not just that, but raising other people's money, period, is something that I also learned in that startup. So I would just say the process of using other people's money enlightened me to how people are building these huge companies. Like, I used to think that if you was a millionaire or a billionaire, you was doing it off just working hard, which you are working hard, but you have the leverage of using millions of other people's dollars to do that. And if you don't understand the American game, this is why people should really want to come here. You don't want to come to America because the lifestyle or the living is better, or the food or the culture is better, because it's not, to me. It's the financial opportunity to leverage banks' money that will give you the money, because you got to pay it back to them technically. So whether that's through venture capital, private equity, business funding, credit, whatever, that's probably the biggest thing that's enhanced my mindset on how big our business could be. Because I saw my friend raise $780,000 in 2 years in my face. And that shit changed my life, because I started to realize how big my company could be, because his company wasn't even creating revenue at the time, and I was already doing 6-figure revenue. And I'm just like, if he could do that, I'm about to do that. So
why is it important for you to keep up with your fitness even on vacation?
For me, it'd be stress, bro. Being an entrepreneur is very stressful, honestly, but it's like healthy stress. Y'all work out. It's all about putting stress on your muscles to make them grow. It's just the same thing mentally. When you're learning new things and taking risks, and emotionally, these are real risks with real consequences. So it applies stress. So to me, I also went to college and played basketball. I played since high school. So it's kind of a habit now. It's a lifestyle habit. I don't feel great if I don't do those disciplines on a regular basis. But yeah, it's also a lot of stress management. I used to hate to run, but now I love to run, just because mentally I feel so much clearer and ready for the day after going to run 2-3 miles. So
that's key right there, man. Now, in your opinion, are people happier outside the U.S.?
Hell yes.
Why would you say that?
It goes back to the food, man. I mean, the food, the culture. Like I said, you go to Barcelona. They don't make half as much money as we do, but everybody is just vibed out. They might be making $40K a year, but they're not stressed to pay their bills. They get to take a nap for 2 hours in the middle of the day. The food is amazing. They're by the beach. All the women are beautiful and humble. You know what I'm saying? They're not like, oh, if you can't do this and that, if you can't pay my whole rent and you don't even know their last name yet, it's just they come up and have a regular convo with you, buy you a drink. And these aren't things that make them go, ugh, he let me buy him a drink. We're just humans. We're just humans talking, right? Of course, as a man, they want you to eventually take care of and be a provider, but it's not unrealistic thought processes that come from toxic social media. Bali, amazing food, super clear. You're around the beach, you're at an island, everybody's happy. They come from a Muslim and somewhat, Buddhist background, and so they're very spiritual people, and they're very big into karma and respect, and everybody just shows that respect. These are just places where you see a completely different culture of people, and it's not individualistic. I think that is probably the even biggest thing, is that they all focus on family, bro. I think just recently there was a Harvard or Stanford study that talked about the quality of life, and they studied these people for 50 years and followed them throughout their life and just checked in with them every couple of years or whatever. And the thing that made one group's life quality better than the other was the quality of their relationships. And I think that's a big reason, shameless plug here, but I think that's a big reason why Jetquest is special and is gonna be special, because we really be creating relationships. People come and meet dope people that they stay in contact with for years after. So these other places where they focus on family and their community, I think that's a huge reason also why they're happy. Like another just thing, in Egypt, at sunset hour, everybody just goes outside and sits outside. They're not doing anything but just being outside with each other, smoking cigarettes, talking, smoking hookah, talking, kids on the beach. Yeah, like a lot of them places, bro, is really big on that. And I think we're so much like everybody's in such stress to make ends meet, pay bills, or to get to the next level. Like a lot of us are super ambitious and just trying to constantly elevate. We're not trying to sit down. I don't have time, right? So they take that time with their people. So, yeah.
I got you, man. You touch spirituality. Do you believe in God?
Yeah, no, I definitely believe in God. I grew up in a Christian household. And, you know, my family goes to church every Sunday. I haven't been going to church as much lately, nonstop traveling. But, yeah, I read the Bible like 2 or 3 times growing up, went to church all the time. And I think the more I started traveling, the more I started just not necessarily dabbling in other religions, but learning about them and just getting different perspectives to be aware of what other people were thinking. And certain religions, I was just like, man, how do they believe that? And certain religions, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So I became somewhat open-minded through the travels of other people's religious cultures and thoughts too. But yeah, I think God, I also think that just quantum physics and the idea of God and spirituality are literally the same thing. A lot of people don't want to get into that convo, and I wouldn't get into it with a lot of people because they haven't even read the book that they believe in. But I honestly believe that's exactly what it is.
What has been the last lesson about business, yourself, or any area of your life that you've learned? The last one.
The most recent one?
Most recent lesson that you've learned.
Don't date women with cats. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not playing, but that's not it. The last lesson.
Man, he catches you with that left hook.
I would say, well, for one, man, make sure that you don't break your own rules. If you come up with guidelines for yourself and for business and how you're going to maneuver, which everybody should, especially if you come with them like from the gut, don't break them. When you think, oh man, this person's like really like, I'm gonna do a partnership with this person, a collab, but it's gonna cost me way more, or like it's kind of risky and you're expecting them to come out and do way more. Like if your gut is just telling you, nah, that's not it, don't break your own rules, you know. And this kind of goes back to something I was saying earlier about knowing when to pivot, but at the same time, you could also not just be being patient enough. You just kind of have to know these things. That's why I say, like, going back to the eating the food, that has to do with your gut being clean and your spirituality being intact so that you can get those gut feelings that is really God telling you, like, that ain't it. So it's like 3 answers in one, but yeah, not breaking your rules and basically just sticking to your gut and knowing like, okay, this is not the way I'm gonna go. And because I think we've all done that in business, life, dating, everything, where we went the way we knew we felt we wasn't really trying to go or shouldn't go. And you know, I feel like God spanks you on that ass because he's like, you know better, especially if you feel like you're a person with a calling and you have a lot of people to impact and a lot to do for you and your family. It's like you don't have time. We really only here for max 90 to 100 years if you're super lucky. So wasting time going the wrong direction, you know, it's not good.
How often do you self-reflect?
Every day with ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT as a therapist, as a business consultant, as a counselor. I go over my weekly plans with ChatGPT. It's my most logical friend, like, and it has access to the entire internet to give me data, backup points. I mean, it just, like, if I'm super stressed, I will literally go leave the crib and take a 2-hour walk and just talk to ChatGPT for hours and have it clarify thoughts I'm having, doubts I'm having, ideas I'm having, help me expand on ideas. I even have like a prompt where I tell it, like, I want you to I'm going to do a journal entry today. I want you to communicate with me as if you are coming from a tech background of Steve Jobs with also a no excuses, athletic mindset of a Kobe Bryant with a no excuses type of attitude, but also I want you to address the problems from the standpoint of a therapist that doesn't allow his clients to have any excuses. And I don't want you to coddle me in any kind of way. I want these answers to be super direct and clear. And boom, then I'll start, and it will give me answers with like literal quotes from a Kobe Bryant or a Steve Jobs, and then with like psychological, actual scientific data on like, you know, your neurotransmitters are doing this, so you need to create this new habit by doing that. And it's a super dope. Y'all can steal that prompt, by the way. But yeah, it's super dope. So I talk to ChatGPT all the time, and that's how I self-reflect. I do journaling too. And if I just want to like put the phone down and just write and empty my thoughts, but to reflect and get something back, I use ChatGPT a lot.
Man, just a side question, but it's more like an observation. You're really into Nipsey Hussle and his music, man. And if you know anything about Nipsey, man, you know he be putting you on game and talking that talk. So that being said, do you think that what we listen to has a bigger effect than what we think?
Yes, this is why literally like people, my brothers joke with me about this. They be like, you listen to like the same 5 people. And honestly, it's because everybody else is playing like, not only do I not actually like the way most of the other music sounds, but majority of the music is literally so poisonous to our subconscious minds, bro. I don't like, I used to not like G Herbo. I like G Herbo as a person now. I still don't like most of his music. I love his new song, Went Legit. That shit is amazing. But most of G Herbo's music is about killing people. It's super toxic. It's like, I love, one of my favorite songs in the world is by NBA Youngboy. But I only listen to that 1 or 2 NBA Youngboy songs because it's really not good. Like, I listen to hella Nipsey because he's talking about entrepreneurship. He's talking about being a leader. He's talking about taking care of your kids. He's talking about being the one for your family that changes the whole next 3 generations. He's talking about, you know, changing the minds of the people in your community around you. All that stuff. Same thing with like a J. Cole or a Big Sean. They talk about things that are uplifting and positive for the most part. You know, Larry June is in there too. Like, he's funny with it, but but yeah, it's all about what you listen to, bro. That's why I would say people don't pay attention to the fact that they listen like 6-8 hours of music a day. And I would ask, how many audiobooks do you listen to a day? How many podcasts are you listening to per day that add value to you as well? Because most time people will probably say 0. But you listen to 4 hours of Sexy Red. You listen to 2 hours of whatever, you know, Young Thug, Gunna. Like, what did that add value to your life and your situation where you're trying to get out of?
Lastly, brother, let's say you and me were to disappear tomorrow. What would be the guiding principle that you would leave to the viewer today?
Work harder on yourself than you do at your job. Like, if you treat, I know people who will literally not go to sleep and work for a job for years and years. And yeah, no, that's a Jim Rohn quote, but just putting it in perspective, like, we all know people who will work so hard for a job that don't care about them and do it for years and years and years and won't get up and go run a mile for themselves. They won't get up and go put a business plan together. They won't wake up and go risk $300 to get a lawyer to put them an LLC together. They won't do none of the things for themselves, but they'll put it all on the line for basic survival. But anything outside of basic survival, they can't see it. And so I dare y'all to work on, you know, one, personal development. Start to create a belief in yourself that can't be broken. Like, my friend group is like super confident men who, like, you can't tell us nothing about ourselves. We all believe in ourselves, and that's first. And then after that is, you know, information. Once you have that confidence and then you have the information to execute certain things, and then you have the network of people who can help you execute those things, you kind of unstoppable at a certain point. And then obviously that takes time from there. Like, you got those 3 things, it's not gonna happen overnight, but you stick to the plan and you have discipline and patience. Yeah, so just never stop working on yourself. When you work on yourself nonstop, you're gonna be putting in information to yourself, putting in self-belief, working on personal development, working on your body, working on your health. And if you always are doing that and you're getting sharper, you will be better. Like last thing, I think it's a George Washington or Abraham Lincoln story about like if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 5 hours sharpening my blade and 1 hour chopping at the tree. What does that say? Work on yourself harder, and then you'll be more efficient at whatever tasks you're trying to accomplish. Like you right now, doing whatever you do is gonna be way more effective than you 3 years ago, especially in the gym. Like I've seen the transformation for you. You know what I'm saying? Me being an entrepreneur today versus me at 21, I would have never been able to handle like the worst shit that I'm going through today in the last couple years. I wouldn't have been able to deal with it and understand what to do and pivot in them situations. And me today cannot handle what me in 10 years is going to be handling, right? So it's because I'm never going to stop growing. I'm never going to start sharpening the blade. So yeah, that's it.
Appreciate the time, brother.
Hey, appreciate you for coming through, man.
Where can they find you at, man?
I'll be in the club, bottle full of bub. No, I'm just playing. You can get me on Instagram at Jonathon Lewis 713. It's spelled Jonathon Lewis, Jonathon Lewis 713. You can find us at Jetquest. The website is jetquest.net. And if you want to watch our podcast, is the Jet Lounge podcast as well. So yeah, all of those platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of it. Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, appreciate you.
Yes, sir.